This is your handover demonstration video on your tracker FB. Should you have any further questions, please contact us on 01207 272 777 or sales@timevalleymotorhomes.co.uk. At the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light, your reversing camera and your bike rack. To operate your bike rack, simply pull down, put your wheels through here. That's for your second bike. And this is for your first. Crossbars through there, wheels through there. When not in use, clip away and put the bike rack arms over. Behind here is your spare wheel. So to operate there, use the little key like so. Lift this off, there's a cover, and then you can lift the whole cover off and it will reveal your spare wheel. Coming around to the passenger side, you've got your locker, so push the two buttons in, lift up there. In here you've got a plug for your awning should you require electric in your awning, which is up there. And then you have got your boilers behind here, so this holds 10 litres of water at any one time, but in the winter you don't, or when you're not using it, you will want to drain it down so you get no stagnant water. And in the winter you don't want that 10 litres of water to freeze, so simply do this, lift the toggle up, you can then see water from underneath the van. Leave it standing up when you are winterising it, so when you stop using the van, ideally from October to about spring, you'd want to winterise the van, even if you are using it. When using it, obviously you'll want water in, so you'll want it down like so, and the boiler to hold hot water. But when you're storing it, you want all the water out, because if it does freeze, it can break the boiler, and they're quite expensive to repair or replace, and they're not covered by warranty. So to do that, lift that up. You then want to open your fresh and wastewater outlets on the outside of the vehicle, which I'll show you in a minute, and you'll want to open all the mixer taps inside the van into the middle position to allow any water that's left in the pipes to dribble out, and take the shower head off just to keep the any water in the U-bend of the shower hose to drain as well. To operate your Fiamma safety locks, slide them down and then use the key. So on the bunch of keys, it's this key here for the rear one. Slide that along, and then push it in and turn, and that's locked. And then the front one, use the red key, turn, make sure it is level, push and turn, and that's locked. So that's giving a little bit security on the rear locker door, extra security. And then obviously use the round key to lock here, like so. Coming down the vehicle, you've got your water filler point. So open this, you can lock it with a round key, stop people tapping with your water. Open it up, push it in, and then put a hose pipe into there until it overflows, or you can see the level indicated on the control panel above the door. Tend to travel with just 20 litres unless you are wild camping, then you will have to carry a full tank of water, as carrying a full tank of water reduces your payload and your fuel consumption. Here is your external barbecue point, gas outlet point. So put a spigot into there, which is like a bullfinch gas connector. Get 2 Jubilee clips and some gas hose to your Kadak or external barbecue, and then this will run off your main gas bottles on board the vehicle, and you won't have to carry a second. Through my vents, this is just your boiler there, so this self This just allows the fumes out without having to take the cover off. You've got your fridge vent covers, which will show you how to put your fridge vent covers on. So you've got two covers. So in the winter, when winterising, you want to put these on as well. So you just clip on, use a screwdriver to tighten them, and do the same on this one as well. And then you can still use the fan and the fridge when these are on. All it is just protecting the element of the fridge. We've got a side screen and blackout blind on your habitation door, and you've got the extra Fiamma security lock as well, which does with the same key, so that slides over there. And looks like so. You can then lock the door with a central locking in the middle, or if you want to lock it manually, round key into here and turn it up till the handle's flappy. Open your gas locker, simply put the key in, quarter of a turn until the locks pop out, and then twist. Then have space to fit two 11kg gas bottles. Put your gas bottle on, hand tighten left hand thread, then turn on at the top of the bottle. Do strap the bottles in. We advise you turn them off when travelling, and if your gas was to struggle to come through, you can press the green button in for 30 seconds, which allows the crash valve to open and allow the gas through. Down here you've got your diesel, so this is behind the passenger door, opens with the main ignition key that you drive the van with, and that opens up and then you can fill with diesel. And on the slam panel you have your tyre pressure, so you've got 5 bar front, which is 72.3 psi, 5.5 on the back, which is 79.5 psi. Underneath here you've got your toolkit, so this includes a jack and a brace and a towing eye and a screwdriver, so anything you need to change your wheel or be towed away is in there. And then underneath the carb mat and the carb floor you've got your engine battery. There is jumping points for a bump start underneath the bonnet, and open the bonnet really sits here on the side of the dashboard. You've got your chassis number on the windscreen there, should you ever need it, and then underneath you've got your wheel plate when it was Fiat. Wheel plate now it's had its secondary conversion from motor trail, so it's 3,650. If you were to tow anything, you can tow the combined of the van and whatever you're towing mustn't exceed 4.77 kilograms. Front and back axle weights, paint code, so your paint code, which is a standard Fiat colour, so if you need it for the carb touch-ups or touch-up pens, or you do have any damage that you need to repair, that's your paint code. You've got your positive for a jump start here, for giving or receiving a bump start, and your negative there. And then coming to underneath the driver's side, you've got your radiator fluid, power steering fluid, brake fluid, and the main one you're going to want, which is your screen wash. Round to the driver's side, this pipe here is your grey waste, so it's your grey waste holding tank to operate. To return, you would normally drive over a grid over the site, so do leave this open when travelling, as it will allow any water to rot its way out the tank. In this storage locker underneath your bench seat, you've got your 2 leisure batteries, so a leisure battery here and a leisure battery here. So that's your main one, that's just the secondary additional battery and some storage. And you've got the same lock on there which swivels down and locks. To hook the vehicle up, the flap back, open the lever, push it on. Always hook the van up first, then the point is we don't want you to be walking around with a live lead if it should be damaged or wet, as you may hurt yourself. And in this locker, simply just more storage in there. You've got your external TV point here, so if you're on a super site you can connect to their aerial instead of using yours should yours not be strong enough. That's in there. And then here is your external shower point, so you get a bullfinch fitting here which clips in like a bayonet fitting, and then you can choose your temperature being off, hot or down to cold. And then you get on the other end of the hose a trigger gun, and you can hose off the dogs, the bikes, the boots, the wellies, the kids, whatever you want. You must have the pump on inside like I've shown you on the control panel to operate this. To drain your fresh water that you fill the other side, so when winterizing make sure these two outlets are open. Simply just open and leave open when you're travelling home, just to rock any loose water out the tank. Do make sure everything's drained down in the winter because it can crack pipes, tanks and things, and that's the last thing you want. So just winterize it correctly. And then behind this service hatch you have your cassette toilet, so make sure the slide's shut. If the slide's shut you should get the cassette out. You've then got wheels there to drag it around the side. To empty, take the cap off, press the button and tip out, and then should you want to be in the cassette to clean, you can slide this forward and open up to clean inside. Once you have emptied it, put a bit of fresh water in, give it another secondary rinse, and then you can either use the cap as a measuring stick for your green, a cap full of green here, it's ready to use, or put a pint of water in, push it back into the toilet, and then plop the tablet straight down the toilet, which is Fetfit AdBlue Chem tablets. Basically it's like a dishwasher tablet and that will degrade into the liquid. To operate your main control panel over here, press the on button. This will either give you 240 if you are hooked up, or 12 volt if not, which will just be running off your leisure battery. Next to it you have the vehicle switchover selection, which means you can then run the back end of the motorhome, so the leisure side, off the engine battery, but we don't advise that as it will kill the engine battery and you may not be able to start the engine. Below you have the water pump, so make sure there's enough water in and then turn that on to surface your exterior shower, your toilet and your sink and kitchen area. Next what you have your awning lights. This is the light on the outside of the vehicle, which is good if you're sitting underneath the awning on a dusk night, or you've gone for a walk and you want to see where the van is when coming back. Next to it, on this side, you've got these arrows which scroll through the main selection. So in there it's saying you've got 50% fresh water, 0% waste, the current amperage coming off the leisure battery, solar, we're hooked up at the moment so the solar goes to sleep, if not that will kick in, the external temperature, the tank heater's off, so in the winter you want to put them on, use the arrow that's pointing the opposite way, turn them on, and then put current through your main tank to stop your water from freezing, and then you turn them off. The clock, so you can set the clock which displays on the display panel. The alarm, so if you want an alarm set to catch a ferry or anything, you can program this, so this will start beeping at a certain time to wake you up. So you can turn the alarm on or off by pressing this button, and then you can set an event timer, and then that is just the AC 300 unit. Coming to this side, This is your Truma boiler on gas, and your boiler on gas for heating your water, and your ultra heat for heating the van on 230 electric. So come to this side. So this is heating your water on gas. You must take the cover off, which I've been through, and then use it off in the middle, 50 degrees of hot water, or 70 degrees at the bottom, and you'll hear it click in there. This light here is just your light. So this is your light around the front of the van. So this is your entrance light. And then come to this side, you've got off by the O, got 2000 at the top, so that's 2 kilowatts of heating on electric. And then you've got your 1 to 9 being about 30 degrees. So this is your thermostat. And then if you do have to turn it down, being abroad, or you're drawing too much current and you're tripping the vehicle out, you can turn your heating down to 0.5 kilowatt, which is 500, or 1000, which is 1 kilowatt. But normally in this country you just use 2 kilowatts, which is 2000. Above the door you also have your heating and hot water selector and your energy source. So this is what you'd be heating the hot water or the heating off. So come to this side. This is your selector. So you've got at the top 60 degrees of water only, 40 degrees of water only, off in the middle, heating by itself. So if you didn't have water on board, you just use the heating, or heating and hot water at 60 degrees. You then have a 1 to 5, which is your thermostat, to choose the temperature. Coming this side, you've got your selector for your energy source. So at the top, you've got 2 wiggly lines, which is 2 kilowatts of electric. So if you are on a site, don't waste your gas and you are hooked up, just put it on to 2 kilowatts of electric. Below 1 wiggly line, 1 kilowatt of electric. You've got gas on its own, so if you were not hooked up and you wanted to heat the van or the hot water or both together, you'd have to use gas by itself. So this is more for wild camping. And then below you've got 1 kilowatt of electric and gas together, and 2 kilowatts of electric and gas together. So you'd use 2 kilowatts of electric and gas together when in the winter, if you wanted to prioritize your heating or hot water to get your van to temperature quicker, and then you would just switch it back over to your electric. Next to the door you've also got this switch here, which operates your step. And to lock your habitation door manually, you press this catch in here, but you can just do it off the dash, which I'll show you in a second. And you do have your entrance light above the control panel there. This is how to operate your full oven and hob. So you've got your 3 gas burners there lit. You've got 1 240 electric, which is this side. It then shows a red light. Use this when hooked up, save your gas. But when you have had this on, simply allow it to cool before you put your glass lid down. You've got your grill. So your grill's lit there. So allow the thermocouple to get warm before lifting off the knob. Take your oven and grill pan out when travelling, as this can make some noise when travelling. Just minimises the noise. Below you've got your oven and oven shelves. And that is your oven lit, like so. Below the oven you've got a bit of storage, but underneath here you've got your gas taps. So this is where you can isolate each appliance individually, but any problems with gas, turn it off at the bottle to be safe. These are mainly when the van gets habitation service, the technician tests each gas appliance to make sure it's in the correspondence to the guidelines, and above you've got the cut-off plug for your 240 hob. To operate the microwave, make sure you are hooked up, as it is only a mains 240 appliance, and to wake up, press go, and then you have a household microwave, only on 240. To operate your domestic fridge with freezer compartment, this is your main control panel. So on here, you turn it off and you can turn it on, so that's your on and off button. You then have A, which stands for automatic, so if the hookup was to be pulled out now and the gas was to be open, it would switch over to gas. If the engine was to be started, it would switch over the battery setting, which is a feed from the alternator, which is designed to keep the fridge at the temperature it was when setting off. So the idea here is that you pre-cool your fridge the night before, put your shopping in, and let it all get nice and cold and down to temperature, and then you would put it on the battery when traveling. So no matter if you travel half an hour or 7 hours or longer, your shopping should be nice and fresh. But coming back to the manual, so you've got a manual override here. You've got your 240 mains electric, you've got your gas, which you just press and it self-ignites. You'll hear it click there until it self-ignites. And then you've got your battery, which is failed because the engine is not running at the moment. But you can just leave it on A and it'll do it all its own by itself. With A, it is automatically preset that when there isn't 240 and the gas is open, it will wait 20 minutes before igniting on gas. This is simply because if you were to pull into a petrol station and fill up with diesel, the last thing you want is your fridge sparking in a petrol station. So it's preset and programmed to wait 20 minutes before it ignites. Coming here, this is just so it stops the seals from sticking on the freezer when it's on. And then you've got your temperature, so getting colder, and you've got a reset button there, and that is your fridge controls. And when storing the fridge and freezer, clean it out, push these in and slide them out. It stops the door from shutting fully there and allows air around the seal to stop any mold and bacteria growing in your freezer and fridge. To operate your toilet, Fetford cassette toilet, press the blue button. You'll hear the fan come in. To stop that, just press the fan, and then you can press and hold, and it will flush your toilet. You then have a grey lever, which is called your slide. Slide the toilet and it deposits your waste into the cassette. Always make sure this is shut when travelling, and it's got to be shut like that or the cassette won't come out. So if it is like that and you're trying to get the cassette out on the exterior of the vehicle to empty it and you're wondering why it won't come out, it's probably because the slide's either open or not fully closed. You're also on the back, so you've got your flush, your fan, which you can turn on or off by just pressing. Flushes the toilet. This is your cassette, so it's green, which means it's empty or it's got a little bit in, so it's still, you can still use it. Once that goes red, you need to empty your cassette because it's full. To operate your main head unit, which is also your reversing camera, sat nav and TV, turn it on here, press and hold. Always turn it off when you get out the vehicle. And then if you press SRC/nav, it will skip through the different sources. So you've got AV1, AV2, Bluetooth, so you can pair your phone here, connect, reset pair, and then you can go have all your contacts synced. This is your navigation, so you can add your route. So you can put that in and find your find where you're going to, or you can have a map of where you are. It'll tell you your speed, your arrival time, and so forth. And if you press again, you've got your radio, so you can press 1 to 6 to save once you've found your radio station you're looking for. And if you press once more, or you can go to home, you've got your settings. So DVB-T is your TV. So just press it. So then it will load. You must have the head unit on and then use the monitor screen. So there's your TV there on the head unit. You can use your volume to control it. You can click and go up and down for your channels. And then if you put the switch on in the cupboard where your electrical consumer unit is, like I've shown you, and come here and press your power button, you must have the main control panel on when doing this. We'll then send power to the screen, and there's your TV there. So this is just a monitor. Everything must be done through the head unit. The volume, the channels changing, everything's got to be done through the head unit. This is solely just a screen. And that is your... Below you've got your temperature and fan speed. It must be on at least one or more for the aircon. You've got your distribution and your circulation. Coming down here, heated mirrors, rear fogs, hazard lights, locks and unlocks the cab door and habitation door. You must then manually lock all your other lockers. You've got a space in there for a good storage bin. In here you've got storage. This is actually cooled and heated by the aircon, so you can put your little bits and pieces in, especially if it's going to be on the aircon. So your little cans of pop, your sweets, your chocolate for on the road. Glove box there. Your 6-speed manual gearbox, so lift the collar and push it up here for reverse. You've got your cruise control on the bottom, and should you need to resume it, you can press there. Lights and indicators and wipers, and your trip computer, which goes through the middle screen, tells you your miles per gallon, your fuel usage and so forth on there. And if I just put on there like so, go through all that there. But this is your Cat 1 alarm. So this works, these ultrasonic sensors. So should you want to arm the vehicle with yourselves in, the dog, if you just lock it and leave them in it, it will set the alarm off. To turn the alarm off, put the ignition on, turn the ignition off. Within 6 seconds, press and hold. You'll see it flash. Once it stops flashing, that is them ultrasonic sensors turned off, which means then you can then lock the vehicle, leave the pets or yourselves in the vehicle. You can roam around the vehicle as much as you want, but as soon as somebody goes for a door, a bonnet, a locker door, it will set the alarm off as usual. But as soon as the engine is started, you must then reset this every time you have then started the engine, as it will return to default settings. So if you have started the engine, since you've done it, you will have to then press the button again and revert to the previous stage to turn the ultrasonic sensors off. To operate your car blinds, you've got 2 on the windscreen, so pinch them together and slide. You then clip together magnetic strips. Tip is, if it's going to be a windy night, put a bobble or elastic band around there just to stop them pinging open, because they are just magnetic strips. And then you've got the same on your doors, and you let the bottom slide first and clip into the windscreen, in the side mirrors there. And that is your cab blinds and your cab.